All right. Welcome everyone to a Monday evening. We have our Get 2021 May, and we are very pleased to invite Alex and Lily from Intune, both entrepreneurs, and also they are together to come share with us. And I will let Derek and Darwin to introduce them in a while. Derek is one of our students in 𝐷𝐻𝐻 International School, and he's in secondary level. At the moment, he's one of the participants of Global Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge from Japan as well, organized by Japan. And he's spending his time here to interact with our friends and entrepreneurs. And Darwin, I call him the shirt boss because he's running a shirt business while studying in 𝐷𝐻𝐻 International School. I'm going to welcome Derek and Darwin to introduce Alex and Lily. So I'll pass the mic over to Derek.
Hi everyone, I'm Derek and I'm going to introduce Lily. So in 2007, Lily Young co-founded the Intune Outsourcing, an accounting and human resource for outsourcing firm to serve the Malaysian SMEs by being their professional outsourced finance and HR departments with the vision that every SME can become large. Lily Young started her career in external audit and risk management with Ernst & Young. Lily was involved in portfolios such as Maybank and Bank Simpanan Nasional. Thereafter, she joined Waterco Limited as their internal audit manager. She graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce degree from the University of Adelaide, Australia. She also got a Malaysian Institute of Accountants and CPA Australian member. And now, Darwin will introduce Alex.
Thank you so much, Derek. Introducing Alex, with 20 plus years of experience working in finance, accounting, and business. As before he was in Intune, Alex was with the KPMG conducting auditing for clients such as the Amway Group, Shangri-La Hotel, and many more commercial organizations. He was also involved in the various finance, corporate, and listing exercises during his employment years. Besides being the director of Intune, he has even ventured into setting up his own boutique hotel in Manchester. He has contributed to several industries, including the property development, construction, and interior design. He is also a fellow certified practicing accountant from CPA Australia. Alex has a bachelor degree of commerce in accounting and finance from the University of Melbourne, and he enjoys nature and traveling. And he today is also a life coach to give back to the community. Passing it back to you, CJ.
Thank you, Derek and Darwin. And let us start the session by Derek and Darwin asking our entrepreneur over here in terms of financial outsourcing and what is it all about, because this can be a very heavy topic when it comes to the money sense, and better still is the money sense when it comes to businesses and beyond. And it's a huge topic. I think 1 hour is barely enough to even go in depth into it, and I hope we can share as much as possible, ask as many impactful questions as possible. And audience, if you are tuning in, feel free to comment, feel free to ask questions. Our tech crew behind the scene will capture a question and we'll find the right spot and time to also bring up the question to ask Alex and Lily. All right, so are we good?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to pass it over to Darwin to start the session. Darwin, what question do you have?
Well, my question goes out to the both of you. How did your financial outsourcing business start, and why did you choose to start your own business? Alex, would you like to go first?
Okay. When I was in the commercial industry, I think there were many of my friends. I think that time we were around 30 years old. A lot of our friends start to venture and start their own business. So some of them along the way always have headache with numbers. So they will always come to me, hey, Alex, come now, help me out with my numbers. Then I was like, can now, but how am I going to charge this for that? I'm earning 12 grand a month. If I charge him 12 grand, he's going to kill me, right? So then I was like, how am I going to work? So I went back and think that. Then as more and more of our friends start to come and ask us, then suddenly I had this idea pop in my head. I was like, okay, if one can't afford me, but if I can get 10 of them to engage me and maybe charge them a fee of 2 grand, then with 20 grand, I can actually serve all 10 of them. And I think it was from there we gave birth to the finance outsourcing industry. We treat it as if I'm like a head office, I'm then dealing with 10 clients, and I can give them the best of the accounting practice that they can have, which usually small, medium industry will never have access to accountant like us. I think that's how we started the business.
That's interesting. How about you, Lily?
For me, it's very similar like what Alex has said. It is also during my years in external audit, I was auditing other people's accounting. Yeah. So my clients' accounting were done by the accounts team. I was auditing it. So when I audit them, what I realized is that for larger companies, they can afford a full finance team with a CFO, and a pool of people, 5, 6, 7 people in their accounting team and to produce the accounts. And I was the auditor. However, when I went to audit smaller firms, I realized that it's really a struggle. Sometimes they may just have 1 or 2 staff, and these are not, they may not be qualified accountants. And auditing it is quite a challenge in the sense that the quality of the work is perhaps not there. So, and hence, when Alex and I spoke about this, we thought, the SME market is very underserved in terms of professional services accounting. So, and hence, okay, let's do it. Yeah.
And I think it's also a taboo. A lot of SME always think qualified accountants are expensive.
Yeah.
So they rather put up with the not qualified one and then struggle along the way. And I think with our business model is that we open up that whole access to them that, I can get access to Alex and Lily for 2,000. That's cheaper than me hiring a full-time staff. And I'm actually talking to an accountant instead of talking just to maybe an account clerk at a junior level.
Interesting. I guess all great businesses start with solving problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'll pass it on to Derek for the next question.
I actually want to go back to the question that you asked, because when Lily was explaining her part of the story, she mentioned external and internal auditing. Can you explain the difference between external and internal auditing?
All right. Okay. So before we go to external or internal, perhaps let's understand what audit is. Yeah. So in a very, very layman language, audit means checking, reviewing. Basically checking somebody else's work. Yeah. So, and then internal audit is where, in a large corporation, there will be dedicated people, dedicated department to check all their internal processes, which means that whether, the people, the production people, the sales guys, the finance guy, are they doing their work in accordance with the workflow and the processes and the policies set by the company? That's internal audit, internal team. So it serves internal customers. So when we say external audit, what we are referring to is an independent audit opinion by a public accounting firm on whether the accounts is true and fair enough. So when I was with Ernst & Young and Alex was with KPMG, we were in the external audit, and hence we were the independent auditor reviewing or auditing our clients' financial statements. So that's the difference, internal and external.
So internal is like inside that company, and external is that company is coming to you to check their stuff?
Internal is you check before outside people check.
Then external is...
Internal check, too late already. You must have internal security before the police come. By the time police come, reach already. That's how I always put it simple.
Yeah, that's a layman language. The policing the numbers. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, after checking, the auditors, external auditors will give an audit opinion. An audit opinion basically says, whether your accounts are true and fair. Yeah. So that's the result of the external audit process. Yeah.
So it's audit check first, like internal audit check first, then external audit check second.
Yes, spot on.
Okay. Then, but why do you need like a checker if can't the accountants themselves check the audit? I mean, not check the audit, but check the account. Why do they need an auditor?
I think it's always a matter of ensuring the quality of the work. Of course, as an accountant, we always ensure the quality is there. However, it's my words against your words. Having someone from external to validate it is giving assurance that the thing is true as what I represent. So it provides a secondary layer of assurance. So this generally happens when the company are listed company, because there's a lot of people outside putting their funds into the company. So at least when the accountant said, I have 1 million in the bank, so having someone to verify that there is that 1 million, add on a lot of credibility as well as it provides assurance to the public as well as to the people outside.
Okay. So auditors are like to double check lah.
Yes, double check.
Double check. They give an independent opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the key lah. Independent opinion to the stakeholders. Stakeholders are like shareholders. For example, if you buy Maybank shares, yeah, you love to look at the numbers. So the numbers that you look at has already been checked or audited by an external auditor. Then you will know, you have comfort that at least somebody has checked it before and they are independent. Yeah.
Okay. Teacher CJ, would you like to ask the next question?
Sure. That reminds me of, well, from the student perspective, it's more of you do the work, you let your teacher check your answer, then you let an external examiner to verify your answer to make sure it's a valid answer.
Correct.
You don't do the part 2 before part 1. To do part 1 first to have higher chances of accuracy. Because if part 2 comes in, there's no turning back.
Yeah.
A lot of penalty comes in if part 2 went wrong. Part 2 goes wrong. Okay, yep. Teacher, buatan guru, teacher. So my question is this. So I known both of you for many years since I've seen you, both of you started a business, 2 of you to growing a team of people now, running the businesses and connecting to multiple people around industries. I'm very curious. It's not easy to start a business and grow it to a certain extent. What would be the biggest memory moment or biggest obstacle moment that you, Alex and Lily, face along the years of growing this business? There's always a growing pain when you start a business. If you say there's no growing pain, I don't really believe it. Any businesses have their own growing pain at different level. So maybe I'll start with Lily. What is the biggest obstacle or growing pain you have to go through in order to grow this business?
Okay, so for me personally, the biggest obstacle is my mindset, having to approach people to sell the services. Coming from corporate background where we are auditor and I never had to ask, for business. So very professional and we are checking other people's work, that kind of thing. Yeah. So when coming up to do business is a whole different ball game altogether. So even though I'm a professional, I'm also a business owner, which means I need to go out to do sales in a very layman's term, ask people for business. So for me, that was my biggest obstacle to get through. Yeah, personally, yes. So I really opened my mouth to ask for business. That was one of my biggest obstacles, yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Lily. So I guess a lot of business owners have to go through that cycle in terms of you're really good in what you're doing, but if you don't know enough to share that story or let other people know about your skill and talents, your business can't grow. And it reminds me of a book talking about to sell is human, and you learn how to sell your skill, and you're not selling your business per se, you're actually selling your talent, and people should value that. And thank you so much for that, Lily. What about you, Alex?
I think adding on to that, the next layer is actually to be able to communicate what we do to SME. Because I think to the business owner, there is a lot of, they get very confused between accountancy, they audit, tax. They always think they are all in one. So a lot of time when they look for accountant, they don't think about, can do accounting outsourcing. They don't even think about that. They don't even know we exist. So part of, I think, our biggest challenge to grow this industry is to be able to sell this story and this idea that we do exist, for them to be able to engage us at this kind of rate and to get this level of service. Yeah. So it's like Zoom. You see, before MCO, nobody knows Zoom exists. The moment MCO hit, right? It's like every Tom, Dick, and Harry somehow, somewhere will need to learn Zoom. So we are waiting for that moment that Zoom is like Intune. That's like, that exists. And I think that is the biggest aha pop that I'm looking for. That's one. The second one is because we are in the service industry, finding the right fit people to be able to have the right mindset to serve our client has always been a big challenge. So a lot of the typical account staff that we have, they are just cari makan. So they just want to get a 9-to-5 job. So to be in the serving industry, that is actually very challenging for us to upgrade their mindset to a level where they can actually, be able to serve our clients.
Thank you so much, Alex. So, and good to know in terms of your industries, yes, it's challenge, but then you guys are able to take on the obstacle and turn it into opportunity. And we're going to pass the mic over to Derek. Derek, are you okay?
Yeah, I am okay. It's just that my mom, my mom walked next to me. I was like, hey, I know this person.
Alex, you know who am I or not?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know the camera.
No, you all know each other.
Yeah.
Okay, question.
Over to you, Derek.
All right. Since our topic for today is what financial outsourcing in Malaysia, right? Can you explain, like in layman terms, aka to a student like me, what is finance and what is financial outsourcing?
Okay, I'll take on that question. So in a very layman's terms, right, finance simply means, right, managing your money. Money coming in, money going out. Yeah, that is the most layman I can think of. Yeah. So finance outsourcing means, right, you are outsourcing or you are actually assigning this task to someone outside the company to do it. Yeah. So a little bit more detail about finance. So you're managing the money in and out. Okay, you're running the day-to-day accounting process, like making payments, issuing invoices, making sure you have the documents to collect money from your customers, getting the accounts, prepared. These are all the finance functions. And in a larger extent, it's also looking at, how to get funding for the company and how to pitch for investors' money and all. So finance is a much bigger topic lah. So outsourcing means I don't have people in my team that does that. I don't have the expertise in my team. I'm actually assigning this or getting someone else, a company like Intune, to do it. Yeah.
Okay. Alex, you have anything to add on to that or no?
Well, it's similar. Like you guys have money from your parents. There's money in. How do you guys spend it out? And then when you want more money, how do you gain more money? That's where you outsource to us. Then we'll teach you how to optimize the money, put in which bank to get more interest, buy where to get special discounts, that kind of thing. That's what we do in terms of what we do as outsourcing. We take all these number pain away from you, so you just need to focus on what you do best.
Okay. Darwin, you want to ask next question?
Yeah, sounds good. I'd like to ask the both of you, especially now, nowadays we youngsters, we tend to want to spend a lot more money. Do you guys have any tips for us young Malaysians on how we can manage our finances so that we will have a sufficient amount of money in the future and we won't go broke?
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I think it's very simple. There's this theory called marshmallow theory, if you've heard of it. It's a power of compounding. It's delaying gratification. I think the social media and the current trend is people tend to spend more. YOLO, you only live once. So people tend to indulge first rather than work towards financial freedom first. So when you guys, CJ will be the best when he teach you about compounding mathematics, right? If you guys at your age now, just save $50 every week, right? By the time you are 30 years old, you can have anything that you want. That's the power of compounding. I think a lot of people in terms of finance, we want to spend first, think about it later, rather than let me save first, use this money to invest, let it grow, and then have financial freedom. A lot of people want financial freedom through striking lottery, rather than actually doing the work. I think that's where finance challenge is and to be fair, it's not just for you people.
Yeah.
Across Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, all of us got the same challenge. Delay gratification is the key. Power of compounding is the key.
Yeah, so I would also like to add on to what Alex has said. It's also about planning, as in what are the expenses, the apportioning of the the money, where should you go to, spending your expenses, like spending on your meal, on your transport, going out with friends, and then versus saving, putting it in savings account so that you have quick access and to money, and also putting in, that is medium term lah. Saving is medium term, and then also a bit more long term is investing. Yeah, investing is in maybe you can tumpang your parents to buy investment unit trust, shares and all, where money make more money. In a very layman term, I let my money work harder to make more money to me. So I think if you have quite a balance, different jars, we call it the different jars, I think that will be a good start. Yeah, I think like Alex said, delayed gratification means you don't spend so much now, the first jar, but you save or you invest so that you can enjoy the returns later, financial freedom later. Mm-hmm.
So if I would have 100 ringgit today, would you guys advise me to invest or save it? Which one would be better?
It really depends. You need to have some saving for rainy days first. In terms of financial planning, step one is always protection. Making sure in the event of rainy day, you have some pocket money. If you invest everything, then later if you're short, right, then you don't have pocket money, also not working. So it's always having maybe about 2 to 3 months of your capital in your money in a saving account that you can dig into in the event of rainy days. Then anything more than that, then you can think about medium to long term. Because once you commit to medium and long term, it's not liquid. So that's why you feel stuck. Suddenly it's like, oh, I got a minor accident, I lost my phone, I need to buy a new phone, then you don't have that money. So that also will be a challenge. So it's always about getting the balance, having some savings, and then I would recommend half if you have. Then you work along the way. And the keyword is consistency. So if you do 50 bucks every week or 50 bucks every month, that's where you see the power of compounding. If you do it one time, then you will find that, not really a lot there. So finance is always a number game. It's also, if you go back to mathematics, it's always a number game, and it's about compounding.
Interesting. Lily, anything you would like to add on?
I think basically Alex covered most of it.
Thank you so much. This is, I think, really good advice, especially for all of us who would like to get rich as soon as possible.
Doing business is also a way to make more money, make your money work harder. Yeah, it's also a form of, I would say, investment. Yeah, businesses is also a form of investment. Yeah, I think students now, powerpreneurs, they start at very young age. Yeah, doing business. That's so.
Which is a great platform.
Yeah, now I must remember that as another jar, no longer 3 jars. We used to learn about 3 jars, now it's 4 jars. Put your money in 4 jars.
Thank you so much for such wonderful answers. Passing it back to you, CJ.
Thank you, Darwin and Derek. And well, it's very interesting as I hear the conversation. Just now, one of the questions asked was, how do you explain financial outsourcing, auditing? And as the explanation goes on, it reminds me, hey, if you want to have some good food, instead of you cooking it, if you ask me to cook, I'll end up having maybe fried egg can. Beyond that, I'm not sure. So if you want restaurant quality food, outsource it. Go out there, find a great restaurant, dine in, treat people, and there's a teacher version of explaining outsourcing. Go out there, find a good service, get some good food, go for it. And it's pretty fascinating hearing that. And as I go about listening to the conversation, it also come to my mind whereby we are looking at leveling our students up. And one of the questions we constantly ask is, beside the parents supporting the students when it comes to them running the business, meaning in a more technical term, parking their business under their parents' name, which is very doable. If you want students below 18 years old to set up their own company, would they be something that they can do to register in SSM, which is a registration of businesses, because they're still below 18 years old? So this is a big question which we are literally finding. Hey, is there a way can the parents be the guardian and the name, and they can register a company name? By any chance, that puzzle can be solved?
So I don't have a direct answer to this because this is a compliance question. That means it's a yes or no. Yeah, it's a law question. It's a yes or no. I don't have a direct answer whether the SSM allows people under the age of 18 to register a business. But a very easy way out is to actually appoint nominees. Nominees to the
trustee. We call it trustee. Say the business can be temporarily parked under your parents, just like when the children under 12, when they start a bank account, it's parked under parents. When they become 12, it automatically assume the account. So I think the same arrangement can be done for registration of.
Oh no.
Please calm down, everyone. Everything is under control.
To introduce you guys to a short commercial break.
We have a frozen technical difficulty. We shall connect back in a moment.
What a lovely topic. And I hope the audience watching at home tonight, we do learn something interesting from this conversation that you will be hearing. And I hope this do help you to reach financial freedom.
And while waiting for Alex and Lily to connect back, apologies with the audience so far. And we'll get them back in a short moment. Now, while waiting for that to happen, I would like to ask our student Dalvin and Derek. So far, this topic, finance or financial outsourcing or even auditing, is something that you rarely pick it up from the textbook, because it's technical skills, it's technical know-how in the industry. And up to this point, what have you all heard and learned that you never realized it is in such a way out there? That's how people deal with their businesses and finances. Maybe now I shall interview our students. I'll go with Derek first. What have you learned so far?
I mean, something that I didn't directly learn from like the past 30 minutes, but I learned ever since I found out that I was going to co-host this event, was that like what they said earlier, what Lily and Alex said, that not much people know about outsourcing. I also didn't know like financial outsourcing existed. And then once I heard that, financial outsourcing in Malaysia, I went to search up what outsourcing was. I was like, this exists. So I think this is actually quite it's a useful thing to know, because if you can't do it right by your own, get someone else to do it right for you. So I think that's something I picked up.
Thank you so much, Derek. What about you, Dalvin? You're running your shirt businesses, and what are the things you feel that you can start using now when it comes to the finance, the back-end system, which is a very important part of running a business?
Well, firstly, I actually did not know much about auditing, but now I do. And relating it to your shirts, I believe Alex and Lily really gave me a good idea. Instead of just having it in a bank account, I can actually use the funds that we have in the account and invest it so we can have a wider range of positive cash flow. At the same time, because currently we're working more to projects for free for our friends, helping them print shirts for their memories. Soon maybe we can help the teachers. We would like to find ways how we can also earn more money, and I think investing in other companies is a good way. Even if it's a small amount, I guess trying a bit can make a big difference. Like sedikit lama menjadi bukit. I guess I might try that. Thank you, Jer.
Thank you so much, Dalvin. And thank you for taking the impromptu questions from us. And as much as we want to rehearse, there are moments in life where things are unpredictable, and hence during unpredictable time, when you have enough rehearsal and training for months, and you're able to answer just like that. Thank you so much for your support. We're gonna pass the mic back over to Lily and Alex. And just now was Derek and Dalvin. We are looking into what we have learned so far. And all good to go?
Yes.
Yes, all good to go.
Dalvin, back over to you.
Thank you so much, Teacher CJ. Guys, I'd like to ask, what can you guys share like an interesting encounter or maybe a story you guys had being in the financial industry? Something unexpected, something maybe funny or shocking throughout your experiences in the financial industry?
Or romantic.
Romantic. Okay,
You can call it romance too.
Oh yeah, we
With
can
the
call it
client.
with the client. So Intune's vision is that every SME can become large, and that we are the finance pillar that supports them. So back in 2011, we had a client. Yeah, we have a client. They are an IT company, and what they do is they provide the internet banking security to banks. So if you are bank customers, some of the big banks in Malaysia like CIMB, Hong Leong Bank, these are the guys that is behind making sure that all your internet banking transactions are safe. So back in 2011, when they engaged us, they are just a small team, of a few people. So we grew with them and etc. And they became really huge, and venturing into providing these services globally as well, and also having a setup in the US. So as they grew big, they thought that maybe it's time to have their own finance department, have their own CFO, etc. So for a few years, we parted lah, we break off, we break off the romantic relationship, we break off, and then after that in 2018, they came back to look for us. So I asked him what happened. So they find that having an internal finance department is great. However, having the expertise, people with expertise, to be able to help them sell the company, the team just couldn't cope lah. Yeah. So Alex and I have been in corporate exercises for due diligence, buying businesses, selling businesses. So we put together our expertise, and in 2 years, they managed to sell their business to a US public listed company for a handsome amount. So that has always been our romantic story, if you want to put it. Yeah, and something that we are very proud of. In fact, our whole team was really cheering for them, and it as if like in our own view lah. Yeah.
Can I add on a bit to that?
Sorry?
Can I add on a bit to that?
Okay.
Okay. When it comes to business relationship, and there's this saying that not everyone can work together, and in a way, you guys are not just business partner, and also in a close spouse relationship, and a lot of businesses fall apart when things start to intertwine and things start to jumble up between families and business. And I'm sure there are ups and downs in both or any relationship that solidify over time. And what are the secret you guys have to go through, to make sure both grow together?
I think I'll take on that answer. I think for me, number one is we have a mutual understanding. In Intune, she's the boss. She will always have the last say. No matter what I say, it doesn't matter. She will have the last say. The whole firm knows about it. So the firm knows that in anything, she's the MD. I'm just one of the directors. I think that set path to a lot of, there's very little room for confusion when it comes to direction or decision making. I think also that helps in our marriage, in terms of certain things I say, she has the right not to listen. And I think that works to a certain extent. Rather than both of us arguing over what's right, sometimes it's who will have the last say. I think having the last say clears a lot of path in terms of agreement. It also keeps things simple. So for the team, if both of us deadlock, she said on, off, finished. That keeps the pain to the minimum.
Yeah. Oh. So I think, so this is also very applicable, not just for husband and wife in business, but for any business that involves partnership. Yeah. Because when you start a business, it's always happy one. Yay, we got this great idea. We want to do this. This is what I will do. This is what you will do. But when a few people get into business and not having a clear agreement, okay, this is what you do, this is your responsibility, this is what I do, this is how much money you're going to put in, how much money I'm going to put in, and this is how we are going to share our profit. If we don't go into business with a clear agreement at the beginning, because at the beginning, very happy, okay lah, cincai lah, we are very friend, then as it goes along, things may be different. So having a clear agreement at the onset actually is a very healthy relationship for any business with partnership.
Yeah, and in business we call that shareholder agreement. And as a shareholder agreement, that agreement can always be varied. And then on top of shareholder agreement is where we call job description that mention who do what by when. So that provides a structure in terms of the foundation of doing business. So if anything that we agree or disagree, we have something to fall back to. And of course, we can always have version 2 or version 3. Means it's not set just at the beginning of the day. It can also evolve as we evolve over the years.
Thank you so much for sharing.
I mean, just to add on to like what you guys are talking about, because you said that Lily is like the decision maker. So when you both have like you guys don't agree on something, then Lily will be the deciding factor. But do you think that having, like, let's say in a partnership or like a business where there's 2 owners, do you think it's better to like have them both have an agreement that this owner will have the say for everything? Or would it be better to place those 2 owners on like the same level of like agreement?
I think that in terms of equality, both of us are equal. Is who have the one extra vote. So I think that matters. If not, a lot of shareholder agreement, let's say 50-50 by default means deadlock means no go. So we added on another layer. If there's a default, she has one more say. So in a typical, it's either 2 say yes or green.
Yeah. 1
yes, 1 no, she has one more say. If in a typical, if that agreement doesn't happen, 1 say yes, 1 say no means no already. So it means we are still equal. Having someone to have a final say is also important, because to me that's called ultimate ownership. Because that means I need to take the big, like prime minister, you cannot have 2 prime ministers, you must always have 1 prime minister. So that sets the path of clarity, good or bad, right or wrong. That person needs to call the final shot. If not, I think too many prime ministers, too many cooks will spoil the soup.
It's like a ship. We have 1 steering and 2 captains attempted to steer left and right. The ship is going to go nowhere.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, there's always just 1 captain of the ship.
Yeah.
I think in our case it's also a bit more intricate to I think to deal with. It's because there is also personal involved and it's also business. So I think it's important, and during the clear mind, when we have a clear mind, is to segregate work and family. Don't let it intertwine. That is the logical mind, speaking, but in life, intertwine.
So having that agreement keep the intertwine safe.
Yeah. And then also really knowing what is really important, what is even really important lah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it is important to make sure that you have a tiebreaker in place.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Don't let business in the way of a relationship, or let relationship, coming in the way of running a business. So that segregation needs to be. It takes time, for us to get to that level. Like, okay, this is work of work. Yeah, don't campur aduk. Yeah.
All business owners will bang the wall a few rounds a day until they get it right.
Yeah.
There's no hard and fast rule, and there's no Bible. It's always an ongoing kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And it also, I think, to deal with these methods, it also take wisdom, and wisdom also comes with emotional strength and maturity and experience to be able to really distinguish between personal and work lah. Yeah, it takes time, like Alex said, yeah.
Actually, I have one more question. It is, I'm not sure if you guys saw it in the chat already, but it is, how you guys you guys have the company Intune Outsourcing, and would you say that like Intune Outsourcing is the biggest financial outsourcing company in Malaysia, and is outsourcing, like financial outsourcing, something that's underdeveloped in most parts of the world, or is it something that you guys managed to like pick up even though it's already like ongoing?
Okay, so maybe I take that question. So the word outsourcing, right, there are many commercial terms to it. Some people call it shared services. Some people call it business process outsourcing, very chunky terms. So in fact, right, outsourcing has been around for a long time, and even big businesses. So if you have heard of, Shell globally has its finance center in Damansara Heights, where it serves, it serves the European countries and all. So it has been around for a long time. For example, India is a huge outsourcing center for the world. Many of the banks, even in Malaysia, actually outsource the finance work or some of the banking related work to the outsourcing team in India. So outsourcing is a big word. It has a big market. It serves international conglomerates. And I think in our context, we want to serve the SME market in Malaysia. So yeah, I would say, so in layman terms, it has already been around for a long time, practiced by big companies. It's not new.
So to answer your question, Derek, in terms of are we the biggest outsourcing company for SME, the answer is yes. I don't think there's anyone who is better than us, more advanced than us, or bigger in terms of revenue size and or number of clients. But in terms of the outsourcing industry, we are not. But in terms of SME, yes, we are. So we are targeting on SME. So this is where our main segment is.
Okay, Darwin, you wanna ask next few questions?
Sounds good. This is a question from the audience. Alex, you are setting up like a boutique hotel in Manchester, right? So are you a Manchester United fan?
Unfortunately, no. But I love football, and I think my hotel cater for clients who are, we are nearer to Manchester City. Actually, we are nearer to Manchester City. Yeah. But I'm not a football fan. I'm more of a badminton fan. But yeah, of course, if I go Manchester, I would love to watch their game. It is the biggest highlight in the whole Manchester, which is why I choose to build a hotel. Unfortunately, COVID came, and any hotel industry at the moment is struggling. At the moment, it's all struggling because tourism all closed. Even the whole football stadium is only recorded. There's no one sitting at the back. Yeah.
Hopefully, everything can get back to normal.
Given time, it will. Yeah.
This is also another question. How can entrepreneur students who are below 18 register their business under SSM?
Oh, that was the question just now we addressed using a trustee.
I didn't pay attention, Darwin.
Yeah, currently, it's, I think by law, I think they don't allow, but you can use a trustee, a lawyer that can do that for you.
All right. Thank you so much. I must have forgotten about that.
Thank you, Darwin, pulling your leg over there. There's one question from our audience, Mr. Eugene. He's asking from the perspective of, are you both passionate in math and accounting? Perhaps during your early years when you're studying and all that, and that leads you towards what you do today. And was that the case, or you stumble upon, hey, I'm actually into this particular industry and I found I'm good at it?
Actually, for me, I stumbled upon it. I was a science student up to Form 5. Then I realized, oh my God, physics, chemistry is not for me. So I jumped on to take on accounting and commerce and economics, and I even failed my accounts during my first semester. And the teacher said, Alex, you're doomed. You can't do accounts. So it was then that I said, really, that hurt me. So I got my friend to really teach me, and I think along the way, I don't fell in love with the numbers. I fell in love with the stories that I can tell from the numbers. So every time I look at the account, right, it's like I'm reading a storybook. It tells me a story about the business and how I can tweak the business it's like CJ said, going to the restaurant, right, and knowing the food, how to turn the food to a different Michelin star. And I think that's what kicks me in terms of account. If you ask me to sit down and do the debit and credit, I actually hate it. I despise the debit and credit. But when the final figure comes out, dressing it up, telling the story, I think that's what I'm truly passionate about.
Okay, Alex, that actually relates. I get my student to do the question, so I don't need to do the question. That's a good thing being a teacher. You don't need to do any more question. You set the question for student to do. Yeah, so it's very similar to running business. You get your staff to do the work, but you have to know the work is correct. Else you're doomed as a business owner.
Auditing.
Yeah. Now, enough of Darwin and Derek asking question. Now we going to switch. We also want this to be a quite relaxing and free and easy session. Also give maximum value to our audience. Perhaps we can do a switch whereby Alex and Lily, is there any particular question you would like to ask our young entrepreneur, Darwin and Derek? Perhaps I will go with Lily. Who do you like to ask, and what is your question to our young entrepreneur over here?
Okay. Maybe I would like to ask Derek. Yeah. So if an investor, if you meet an investor, and the investor is ready to, put money in your pocket or put money in your business. Yeah. What business would you like to start up, and why?
Okay, I have two questions. Question number one, how much money are we talking about? And question number two, why would the investor invest in purely me and not my business?
Okay, so maybe I answer the question number two first. Yeah. So it is actually both ways. Yeah. So before, let's say, if I'm the investor, I have the money. Before I put the money in your company, because for a startup, you are the company is you. Yeah. You are actually, represents what the company is. If you are passionate about what you do, you are really clear about why you are doing it and what kind of impact you want to make to the world, with this. So people are usually attracted to the cost. So and hence, okay, I think I like this guy. Okay, let's hear what he has to say. So that's usually how investors put money in the startups and all. Yeah. So money, how much? May say $1 million. Yeah.
$1 million ringgit.
Yes, $1 million ringgit.
And what company would I like to start up? Maybe I feel like an esports team, like an organization for esports.
Oh.
Because I ever since young, like when I was like 6, 7, 5, I play a lot of video games, and I really liked, like nowadays, not last time but now I'm starting to look more into a lot of esports organizations, and I really like how they like advertise themselves and how they connect with their community lah. So I feel like being a esports team would be very fun to run and to like be a part of.
Wow, this is a very up and coming business. Esports, very up and coming. It's very it's very popular. It's the talk of the town now. Yeah.
So the most important question is the 1 million. When can she get it back?
That's the question.
Okay,
I love you. You're really great, great guy. I like your business.
There's only one question. I have two questions for you. When will she get the money back? With her money, how much can she get? You asked her two questions.
So you're not giving me an investment, you're giving me a 1 million ringgit loan.
You can call it a loan or you can call it investment. At the end of the day, shareholder or investor will look at return of capital and or return of investment. These two will be the main driver for any business people. Yeah. If you can pass these two questions, the whole world is yours. The whole world is yours.
What will I give back, and what will I give in return, and when will I pay the 1 million back? I think I'll start with what will I give in return, because based on my watching Shark Tank Australia experience, whenever they give like $250 dollars of investment, they'll be like, they walk into the room, right, and they'll be like, I want a $250 investment for 8.8% equity in my business. So I think, but then I also see a lot of people, they go like 8% to like 20%. So maybe I'll go somewhere like 17.5% for that 1 mil ringgit. But I don't know how good that is lah. I'll find out in the future.
Yeah. So that's the hard part, getting the numbers, doing a projection, and creating the result lah.
Yeah, that's the work that we do also for our clients. Some clients say, okay, I need to go to the bank. Can you do me a projection? Yeah.
Then as for the when will I pay back, maybe 2 years of like constant pumping in, like every year or month, probably every month lah.
Okay. Right, you have something figured out there.
That's
Good
a very
stuff.
quick ROI.
You very quick ROI.
I would say 5. Alex and Lily, do you have questions to ask our young Darwin over here? Also, time check, it's 8:52, so we have approximately another 8 more minutes to go.
Okay. Darwin, based on your t-shirt business, what do you think is your valuation? Like how much is it worth currently?
We're going a lot into Shark Tank.
Very, very hard question.
It's just a question for him. I'm not buying anything.
I believe your shirt is worth a good number because actually there's 4 of us. I'm the guy who deals with anything people related, whether it's to do with our suppliers, our customers, anything delivery, everything. And we have our friend who does accounting and our logistics, and we have a designing friend and also a friend who does research. When we do all this, we want to do our best to provide our clients with the best service, best products, best quality. We will never want our client to pay more than what we can get them for a cheaper price. We always want to give quality over quantity and also cheap prices for those quality. And by doing so, I believe your shirts has quite a good value, maybe.
Or?
Well, just ask questions.
He's not the number person in his team.
You're asking the wrong teammate.
He will bring his teammate on board, the account fella.
Important as you grow your business is to know your numbers, because your number drives a lot of things. At the end of the day, whatever the business do, it will all translate to number and cents. How much you sell, how much you get, how much return. Yeah, I think that's my main key point, which is what sometimes that's what we do to our clients. We ask them these tough questions so that they win in their business.
Even with our percentages of ownership and all, I'm not too sure how to calculate based on our investment and our roles in this business. It's a bit hard to calculate for, I guess. I feel that.
Come and talk to us after the session.
Or you find the right people to get that information from.
Okay, back to you, CJ.
Thank you so much. So you get grilled here, so you don't get grilled outside in the real world, or get lesser grilled because you know how to handle being grilled. Flavor also come out by the time you go out there. All right. Now I have perhaps you have time for maybe one more question from Derek and Darwin. So pick your wise question, Derek and Darwin. So I'll go with Derek first. Let's ask our final question before I wrap it up for tonight. Derek, what's the ultimate question you would like to ask Mr. Alex and Miss Lily?
The ultimate question. The ultimate question is, you know how financing, there's like personal finance and business finance, right? So what's the difference between like personal finance and business finance, besides the fact that like personal is for person and business is for like a business? So like, is it ran differently, or are there different factors that you consider for those two different fields?
Okay, sure. I'll take the technical questions. Yeah. So basically, finance, whether you're managing a small sum of money or a big sum of money, fundamentally they are the same. But the biggest difference is the number of aspects you need to look at. Yeah. For personal finance, yeah, there aren't that many things to look at. It's very limited. But if you're managing a business, And yeah, there are so many aspects you need to manage, you have, let's say you have 100 customers, when the customers are going to pay you, and then do they pay you quick enough so that you can pay the staff, whether how many months of cash flow do you have, we call it runway, cash flow that you have, if you don't have money, you can tahan for how long, a very layman's term, and how are you going to pay your suppliers? So it's same thing, managing in and out, but for a business finance, it's a much more larger scope to look at. So many ins to look at, so many outs to look at. And the impact
is your question regarding borrowing? Derek, is your question on borrowing or on the finance side?
On the finance side. So Lily is like hitting it on the head right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then even business finance, right? You have more people to be accountable to. You've got staff that you need to feed, and they are feeding their families. So the responsibility and ownership is definitely higher. Personal finance, if I don't have enough money, then I don't go and eat out so much, I cook at home,
No, make your own coffee at home, don't go Starbucks.
So the impact is lesser, it probably impact you and maybe your family, but for a business, there are so many people, like I would say, dependent,
The stakeholder is very wide. Right. You have a lot of, the bigger the business, the bigger the stakeholder, from bankers to financiers, to clients, to creditors. Yeah, the base will get bigger as the business goes big.
So fundamentally, they are the same, but then it's just that your business finance has more factors to look at.
Yes, you have more stakeholder, your accountability is higher.
Okay. Darwin, your final question.
I guess my final question would be, what is the importance of finance to an established business and startups?
To a startup, finance is how long they can last. Because a lot of startups may not have incoming sales, they will probably be spending money first. So then the important is how long they can survive before the income starts to stream in. So for startup, that finance is very critical to know how much money I have, how much more I can pump in, and how long is my runway, like Lily said. So for established business is, with this finance, how high I can go. Say, for example, in your business now, if I were to pump in another million, how fast your t-shirt business can grow to the next level. So for a more established business, finance is about managing these resources towards growth. How high and how further I can run. Yeah? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you, Darwin.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that the answer?
Sure.
Because you talked about how for established businesses, you should be putting your money towards your growth, right? Yeah. But then if you have a startup and that startup isn't really earning you that much money, should you still go on and pump money into that startup so that they can try to generate more revenue, or should you wait until that startup gets revenue for you, then you recycle it back into it to make it grow even bigger?
I think that's where the numbers need to come in. A good example would be like Grab. Beginning, they may not make money, but people keep pumping in money to reach the tipping point. So the key challenge is to find where is the tipping point and the pivot point for the business to jump and for the valuation to make sense, as well as for the company to be listed. So to answer the question is really about a whole series of number and projection and looking at what is actual, what is my database of customers, and what is my revenue stream. So once you have that will be easier to give you an answer. Currently, the answer is very hard because I can't give you point blank. So it really depends on the valuation of the business and the tipping point. Most of the time, we look at the sweet spot, the tipping point. So in finance, we always look at the thing called price to earning ratio. The higher your earning and the price value that people put onto it is a factor. So some business get 10 times, some like Tesla might get 1,000 times. So it really depends on business to business as well.
So are you saying, for example, if you have a small to medium-sized business, you look at your numbers, if you see that your sales are going upwards, then you can decide to pump more money into your business because you know that in the projected projected stats of your company is going to be higher.
Correct. And that's where you are sexy enough to woo investor, and an investor or funds company or even a bigger company, they like to look for this kind of business where when they inject in, because they have the financial resources, they pump it in, the company grow 10 or 20 fold.
So they're pumping the steroids into the company.
Correct.
Yeah. So the word is sexy.
Yeah.
So if you're sexy, then you will be noticed. And even it may not make money, because for investors, if it is a startup, they are prepared, for you for a few years that you don't make money on, because you need to, there needs to be traction. They are prepared for it.
Depends on the industry. Most tech company, the first few years, they would not be making money. So it's having that long runway, enough funds to reach the tipping point. Once they reach the tipping point, it's like a mega explosion. Like now, Grab, they are the only one that has Grab car, Grab taxi. Uber, all the other competitors die off, so they are extremely sexy now.
Thank you, Alex and Lily, and thank you, Derek and Darwin. Looking at the time, it's 9:02 now. We will wrap it up in a short moment. What was shared was really amazing. It reminds me of the question of asking what is money, and perhaps my perspective, money is like water. Imagine you startup is like a small little pond that you have fishes inside, and as you grow bigger, the more water you have, the bigger fish you can put inside. And that's an analogy. If you run dry, the water run dry, fish can't grow in there, and even your fish can grow big. The pond is too small to contain it, so it grows along with what we call the cash flow analogy. And that's a very beautiful way of looking into it. Fish and fish pond, and you're the person managing that fish pond and taking care of the fish inside. And your biggest return can be having the big pond with a lot of water inside, fish growing very healthily. You can keep on fishing, and fish will always be there. And now, before we wrap it up, and thank you, Alex and Lily, for spending your time over here in our GET 2021 May. And I know you guys also have an offer for our audience who are watching this as well. And audience will be showing the offer in terms of getting the promo code for complimentary business review. So if you want to have a taste of the Alex and Lily's Intune business service, sign up for this promo code and give it a go and ask them the question. And personally, I've asked them a lot of questions when it comes to business, financing, taxation issues, foreign exchange and all that. And they've been really helpful as a friend to support me in understanding a lot of things I don't understand from the finance point of view. So I encourage you guys to reach out to them. And if any students are watching this, and this is an opportunity for you to connect to entrepreneurs who are dealing at a really expert level when it comes to businesses and finance. And we're going to wrap it up in a short moment. I would like to thank Derek and Darwin as well. So to all the audience, thank you so much. Have a great evening. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And tune in next round. Okay, goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My name is Alex Wong. I graduated from Melbourne Uni in Australia, and I specialize in accounting and finance. I got my chartered practicing accounting in year 2002. In Intune, I run the business development segment. I'm also a certified partner accounting running with my wife. My wife is actually the other partner that runs the firm.
My name is Lily Yong. I graduated with a corporate finance degree from University of Adelaide, Australia. My first job is with 𝐼𝐧𝐚, an accounting firm, for 5 years. Then I moved on to manage an internal audit department for an Australian listed company. I'm a member of Certified Practicing Accountant Australia and also a member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants. So in Intune, I am the managing partner. I take care of the sales, business development, and also overseeing the operations at Intune. So I've been a practicing accountant for the last 20 over years.
The company was started long time ago when I was still with KPMG. So during that time, I got a lot of friends who are having complication and stress when they run business. And most of their challenge is they cannot hire an accountant. So as a result, they always only hire maybe a clerk or an exec. A lot of time they have a lot of issues with their finance, payment, sometimes the money get lost, sometimes the accounts don't close in time, payment is not done in time. So that time when they wanted to hire me, then I was thinking, how are they going to pay me? Like if they were to hire